This portrait was painted some time before my father's death. I would guess it's the only depiction of him that remains. Excuse me, just one question.
Nothing stands between me and helping a fellow citizen, except the absence of knowledge. Ask someone else.
Could you help me?
No, brother. That's out of my knowledge.
Time to check your who, what and what, Sherry. Who are you asking, about what, and dressed as what?
May I ask you something?
I'm sorry, my brother. I know nothing about it.
Another knife in the pillar.
That pillar is a damn eyesore. Not for the...
Can you just shut up? Hey, get out of here! Hey, can you... Hey!
That pillar is a damn eyesore.
Can you just shut up? How do you think I feel? What are you? Yeah.
Mycroft's informer should be somewhere around here. Try not to mess it up, or you'll blow his cover.
May I ask for your assistance?
You're not a smart person, are you? I don't care about your business.
Do you know anything about this?
Hey, you're a lucky man. I know about this.
He could have been more helpful, but all right.
وسايبني رؤية. We've got no time.
Never mind. Do you know where I can find Friedrich Panzer?
And who the hell are you? You tired of living or just plain stupid? Leg it, you little ratbag.
Come closer and try something on. The finest clothes for the finest citizens. A perfect choice.
What's that, hello?
Hello.
Scram!
Hello? Merhaba.
Boy, these crates are heavy.
Is this familiar to you?
I don't answer questions by your sort.
Could you help me?
You're asking the wrong fella.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
It's strange, but why should we complain?
Look who's here.
Boy, these crates are heavy. Boy, these crates are heavy.
Is this familiar to you?
No, brother, I've never heard of this.
Who the hell is that? Get him!
Don't bother moving. You've lost. Take a rest, my
The snuff's ready.
Don't bother moving.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Take a rest, my
Time to knock this guy out. The snuff's ready.
Don't bother.
Give him the pepper snuff. We can overcome the brute now.
No more crime for you until next month. Don't bother moving. You've lost.
Time to knock this.
Don't cry, you'll live.
The snuff's ready.
I'm coming.
Too simple.
Give him the pepper snuff.
I'm coming for you.
He's all yours now. Go for it.
Take a rest, my friend. Whew. Panzer is captured, but alive. Now, to report to Miss Sertle. I deduced the location of Friedrich Panzer and was able to apprehend him.
So I heard. What a coup. Congratulations are in order. And a new article in the paper. Perhaps sterling stranger squashes smugglers?
How kind of you. I'm sure with little more thought you will land on the perfect headline.
Huh? With a little more thought, you're no writer, Mr. Holmes. Leave it to someone who knows what sells. Since you're here, Mr. Holmes, how about an interview? Strictly on background? Get to know the real you. Mycroft is rather tight-lipped, as you know.
Information is Mycroft's currency, and he does not disperse it lightly. He will tell you a barefaced lie without hesitation if it advances his cause. As for your request, I'm afraid the real me pales in comparison to your vivid imagination. An interview would do us both a disservice.
Perhaps it's best to let the mystery be. Now, on to other matters. We have another case for you. Are you interested?
My attention is elsewhere at present. Perhaps another time.
Mycroft trusts only you to handle this situation. The envelope will remain here until you are ready.
Let's hope no one's been hit by this smooth mineral. A deck of tarot cards, very popular among street performers. The name of the original performer has been replaced with Dilwyn. Someone has over-egged the pudding with these spangles.
You know what? Put on the magic hat. I have a feeling it'll help.
It's not actually magic, John.
Well, not to you perhaps, but to a boy, any magician's hat is special. I hope the boy's all right. Let's look around, see where he's gone.
Should have known better than to jostle a police officer.
Do you know anything about this?
Sir, I can assist you straight away.
Nice to see you.
It's all right, boy. You can come out. Your pursuer has been intercepted by Cordona's finest.
I didn't do... Hey, that's my hat you're wearing.
I know it is. I followed you from your magic stand. Are you okay?
I'm fine. You should keep the hat. It makes you look like the amazing Alonzo. He's the best magician around. It never suited me anyway.
Is that so? Let me take a look at you. You wear your bruises like a badge of honor, a souvenir of your street antics. Your clothes are ragged, yes, but your hair and nails are clean. You're no urchin. This is a rich boy's game, a way to fight off boredom. You made a costume, snuck out from home, and put your skills to the test.
Wow, I guess you do know me.
Clearly. So, tell me, why did you call that man a liar?
Because he is. He told me he's a lord. But no lord has calluses on his hands and sour cabbage stuck in his moustache. He came after me. He caught me with a fist. Nasty bugger.
What did you expect? You embarrassed him in front of his peers and he couldn't admit it. Of course he would lash out. You must be careful how you deploy the truth, Dilwyn. It's a potent weapon, as easily turned against the speaker as it is brandished by him.
Yeah, well, the truth is what people pay me for. I simply notice things others don't. But I think you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I can do it too. It's called deductive reasoning. I happen to be somewhat of an expert in it.
I never knew there was anyone else like me.
Your abilities come with consequences, Dilwyn. To adults, you're a nuisance. To other kids, a freak. You must learn how to blend in. Bite your tongue.
But I don't want to blend in.
Then they will lock you up. The truth hurts, and the bigger the truth, the further men will go to silence it. Be careful how and when you deploy it.
All right. I mean, it was just an amusement.
Yes, nothing like a swift uppercut to really pass the time. Perhaps when faced with the monotony of this world, you will find a place in your mind to explore instead. There is little to gain in idle provocation. Why don't you go to the police and show them your skills? You could become a real detective one day.
They won't take me seriously. Grown-ups never do.
I'm sure you'll be able to impress them, Dilwyn. Just work your magic.
All right. Maybe I'll do that. Catching criminals could be fun.
Before you go, impress me. What do you see?
You're overconfident, as a way to mask your insecurities. You're more vain than you care to admit. And you notice when people notice you. You act like you don't need anyone, because it's easier to pretend you like being alone than to ask for help. You desperately hope to find somewhere you belong. But you never will. Nowhere, no one will ever be enough. And the truth is, you're terrified. You're too smart and too empty inside. You know how dangerous that is, and you know exactly what you're capable of.
Valiant attempt, but alas, you've missed the mark.
Oh, really? Well, what does John think?
Sherlock, did he just... how?
I don't know.
Mr. Holmes, you came. Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. Your man's disguise was easily debunked, Mr. Vogel, but I shall admit that you planted in me the seed of curiosity.
Ah, terrific! I had no doubt you'd put the pieces together. Let us call it an opening gambit before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no. It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
You sure you don't like art, Sherry? Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
A simplistic attempt at provocation. Closed with a metal bolt. Footprints. Size 9.5. Old, and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame.
Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane. Sodden and mold-ridden. One presumes deliberately. A Malpowbot. A Malpowbot. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing. The parasites of creativity. Or just a reflection of the artist's recreational interests. Saturn devouring his sun. Oh, grim composition.
Unflinching in its ferocity, yet somehow beautiful. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room, but the vandalism was a cover for the theft. The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
Extravagant paintings have been left to rot in a basement. A commentary on decay and the crumbling of society, correct?
I don't know.
Well, that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Vogel, I have confirmed that the intruder was an average-sized, flexible Malpal smoker with a limp. As it happens, the vandalism was a cover. The true intent was to steal a painting without your knowledge. The fact is, one of the pieces from the Wild Room is not in the wreckage.
What? That is extraordinary.
This thief was familiar with the gallery and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My. Your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, He insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art is very subjective, Mr. Holmes. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat on your beloved skin. Even a masterfully solved crime.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Regardless, the painting was one of a series called The Sabbath Night in Cordona. The works depict sex, violence, and other controversial acts that life, for better or worse, contains.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure that you do, but that can wait for another time.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Your gallery certainly has unexpected depths.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you to come back with good news, or at least with a good story.
It seems you have had a change of heart. Are you ready for another assignment?
I shall give it my full attention.
I do not doubt it. Here is the envelope. I'm afraid I was forbidden from reading about the case, but it should hold everything you need to know.
Excuse me, just one question.
If I knew the answer to that, I'd have your suit in exchange.
Nasılsın?
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
I clearly have nothing to do with what you are asking about.
Oh, I am bored.
Can you satisfy
when
my
you find the
curiosity?
answer.
My family is starving because of people like you. Go away.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
My family is starving because of people like you. Go away.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Excuse me, young man. Where do you think you're going?
Greetings, ma'am. I'm looking for the...
I don't care who you're looking for. You shall not pass. No visitors allowed.
I wish to buy a painting from Mr. Boniface Mercurio. Is he at home?
Dearie, tell me, because old age has made me blind. Did someone write Information Bureau on my forehead? Because I'm not here to answer your questions. Entry is for residents only. If you aren't a resident, please leave, or I shall report you to the police. No visitors allowed. No visitors allowed. No visitors allowed.
miss out on the
let's pick
best
something that
carpets on the
suits you.
island.
A good choice. A good choice indeed.
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you? Ah, old age does terrible things to one's sight. I didn't recognize you at first.
How are you, Mum? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course I have a spare. You artists all live in your own little world.
Please, accept my thanks.
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to pay me several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting.
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else I'll just change the lock. And I won't fall for those cow eyes.
Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. A normal kitchen knife. Could be the murder weapon. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werner's description of the stolen painting. Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. I wonder where he got that fancy camera. It appears the wine was truly awful. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching. The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called Expressionism.
The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon? Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Verda's description of the stolen painting.
Do you know what makes a lady happy? Paid rent.
Don't look at me like that, Sherry. I will not touch that dirty floor.
The chest has been searched.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. 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 You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical magic, John.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
As expected, but that doesn't mean it won't tell us anything. Let's put it on the easel where it belongs. I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? If the intruder didn't take it, the skull should be somewhere here. Nothing behind it. monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up. But the act of love, it wasn't given willingly, John. It was a violation. And the girl, she was with child.
Give that to me now. Did you recognize someone?
No. Although the victim is not from Cordona, she is African. Look at the ritual scars on her face.
Get that image out of your brain. You have to continue the investigation.
I must speak to the landlady. Perhaps she saw or heard something.
Sherry, you cannot tell her the truth about Mercurio. It will hurt her.
John, that's illogical. Sooner or later, she will come here and discover a corpse, and I still need to talk to her.
Just avoid mentioning corpse, all right? Stick to the character, tell her to call the police.
I'll take that into account.
And wait here. I've redrawn the people in the photograph. Now you can proceed with your investigation without those horrific details.
What's wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent. No offense, dear.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a tattoo on his neck, and he was smoking Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They have a horrible smell I can recognize from a mile away.
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat, and don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
Whew, Sherry, that was close. But you did everything correctly. Now, take off your outfit. I can't let you walk around in a dead man's clothes.
Could you help me?
You shouldn't have left your mansion. You won't get any answers from me.
Can I ask you a question?
You and I are the economic foundation of this island. We should help each other. But I don't know what you are talking about.
Could you help me?
I'm afraid my mind has gone blank.
Everyone's looking at us, Sherry. You sure you know what you're doing?
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Stick to your kind in the factory and get out of the way.
Selam.
I think I'll leave the exhibition in its current state for a while. I'll call it The Art of Vandalism.
Do you know anything about this?
I can't help you, friend.
Do you know anything about this?
I don't know, my friend. Perhaps someone else knows?
Do you know anything about this?
Sounds familiar, but no. Ask someone else.
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry, but I've never heard of it.
Are you able to help me?
You look like an honorable man. I have some information for you.
Beasts! They're completely livid.
May I ask for your assistance?
A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
Sir, this place is off limits to the public. Please state your business or leave, or I shall request that the police escort you out.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm from City Hall. They sent me to oversee the situation.
No, you're not. I'm the supervisor of the camp, and I'm the one who's handling the current situation on behalf of City Hall. Ronald Harlow at your service. Now, sir, tell me who you really are, or you'll have to explain yourself to the police. I have full authority to request they detain you.
Very well, Mr. Harlow. I am a private investigator. I'm looking for a witness on my case. Sherlock Holmes is my real name.
A private investigator? Really? Even so, you're not authorized. I can't let you in, so please, step back.
The people in the crowd are shouting about a murder in the camp. Are you trying to hide it?
It's mere assumption. I assure you that the situation is under the police's control.
If it was under control, if there was no dead body, you wouldn't be as nervous as you are. You would be sitting in your cozy dark corner of the City Hall room doing nothing as usual. Yet, you're here, trying to deal with a series of problems you never asked for.
These insults are inappropriate. You don't know what I'm doing for this camp. Even though the rest of City Hall doesn't give a bloody squat about the refugees. Maybe I didn't want to be assigned to this camp. But I'm trying to do my best for these people. If not for my work, they might not have any shelter or food even.
I apologize, Mr. Harlow. Perhaps I was prejudiced towards you, but in any case, I'm sure that you would still want this to be over as quickly as possible. The current reality is that neither you nor the police are managing things well here. You are unable to calm the crowd. You have simply never handled a situation like this before.
What are you driving at, Mr. Holmes?
I can help you to handle the situation if you're truly interested in solving things quickly and quietly.
And how exactly would you manage that?
Simply tell the police that I'm with City Hall and I'm permitted to investigate the scene. I'll work out the rest, but in return, I need your help finding my witness. She's a young refugee. She's with child or was with child recently.
Look, there is indeed a dead body inside the camp. So even if the girl you are looking for is there, all the refugees are now being detained and interrogated by the police. They won't allow you to speak with her, and I can't do anything about that until the situation settles down.
So it's in our mutual interest to settle it.
Oh. I suppose that things are bad enough that I ought not shy away from help. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell the police to allow you to come inside. Just tell me when you're ready.
Mr. Harlow, how did the refugees end up here exactly?
Oh, so you're not from around here yourself?
I've been away for some time, but I read the papers.
Yes, this whole story has been in the papers for almost a year now. They were smuggled to Cordona on a ship from Africa.
Smuggled? Then why didn't you deport them?
The smugglers managed to sneak them to shore and hide them inside an abandoned warehouse. When the police raided the warehouse and found the refugees there, the ship was already gone. We aren't even certain as to which ship it was. We have busy shipping routes with other colonies these days, you see.
So you decided to lock them up under a bridge?
There was no other option. We're still trying to work out what to do with them. I only hope we'll find a humane solution and not put them on a raft and float them out to sea.
Mr. Harlow, what exactly do you do here? What are your responsibilities?
What I do and what I am responsible for are two different realities, Mr. Holmes. On paper, I am in charge of the camp territory, security, provision, and the refugees in general. What I actually do most of the time is knock on every City Hall door trying to obtain some funding, or at least rations for the camp.
The police here on City Hall's behalf too?
They are, minus those who came here after the body was found. The governor won't let the refugees disperse into the island, so there's a significant police presence guarding the camp. Naturally, they answer directly to the police. I have some influence here, but I'm not their direct authority.
I'm ready to take a look at the scene.
All right. Go inside the camp and find Inspector Tewkesbury. He's the officer investigating the scene. Tell him I sent you. Say you're an independent expert from City Hall. He'll fill in the details for you.
I'll find my way with words. Thank you, Mr. Harlow.
Murder! Beasts!
So they keep these refugees under a bridge like proverbial trolls. No wonder the people outside are so disturbed.
Who the hell are you? How did you get in here?
Mr. Ronald Harlow let me in, sir. I'm Sherlock Holmes, a surveyor of refugee affairs with City Hall. You're Inspector Tewkesbury, I presume?
A surveyor? What does that even mean?
In short, I've been sent to conduct an extensive report on the incident for the Colonial Office, and to assess all the damage inflicted on state property.
Got it. Another paperworm sent to count money and get food for archive mold. Go on, look around, but don't make yourself too at home. As if I didn't have enough problems before you appeared.
Could you first tell me what happened here?
What happened? People from the bridge above the camp heard a woman screaming and saw a mass of refugees attacking a man. Clearly not a refugee. When the camp guards came by, the man was floating in the sewage canal with a knife in his chest. Bam. A murder. Big news for Cordona.
I'm sure. Thank you, Inspector. And none of the refugees were harmed?
One fellow was cut. He's lying over there near their kitchen. He's in a bad way.
You mentioned a woman screaming who attracted the bypassers on the bridge. Was she harmed?
No, she's all right, but perhaps the whole debacle started because of her. She started wailing and the refugees stood up for the girl.
And where is this young woman now?
Back there in the shacks, same as the rest of the refugees. She's been questioned by my men, but she's just some refugee girl. Can't understand much English.
Did you learn anything about the dead man?
The fellow looks like a thug. I've had dozens like him fished out of the sea over the past 20 years. Ever since these refugees arrived, there have been people on Cordona with bad blood in them. My best bet is that this thug had something against them too.
And no clue as to his identity?
He had some items on his body, but nothing to indicate who he was or where he was from.
I think I should catalogue his possessions in my records.
Go on. They're on the table near the body.
Do you have any suspects yet?
You're joking, right? I've got a whole camp full of suspects. But if you ask me, this bloke had it coming. Better bury him and forget about the whole thing. And now there's a crowd gathered at the camp, and my superiors say we must thoroughly interrogate the refugees. At least those who can understand any English.
Do you believe that your superiors wish to get rid of the refugees?
I think that both our superiors would rather keep the story quiet. Since that's an unaffordable luxury now, they're looking how to protect their public image. That's why I have to waste my time waiting for my people to turn every stone and befriend every refugee.
Here we go again. Number of hours on Cordona before stumbling upon another dead body? 0.
Coal dust under the nails. I don't see much coal around here. A steel dirk. Sharp. A common accessory among sailors and soldiers. I'd say the blade penetrated upward, however the wound is too messy to be certain. An interesting tattoo. Does it mean something? Heavy boots, with one sole far more worn than the other. This man was limping, John. A violent death. But this man, limping. Coal dust. I think we're onto something here, John.
If they find out about the passage, everything will go there.
Sherry, just look at this. Living quarters in a sewer. What kind of a genius bureaucrat came...
Nobody will know anything if you keep your bloody mouth shut.
The coppers smell fishy here, Sherry. Perhaps we should sniff around in the camp a little more thoroughly.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Unfortunately, my casebook is empty on this.
Do you know anything about this?
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Malpal, soaked with salt water. £1,000. A fair sum, especially considering British currency isn't very common in Cordona. A simple leather sheath. Perfect for a dirk. Someone bled profusely here. A fresh crack, as if the crate was hit recently. furrow in the ground. A blood trail leading to or from the canal. Clearly a left handprint here. Someone was dragged against their will.
The refugees have been detained and will not leave until all the circumstances are clarified. Back off. Back off. Back off.
Do you know anything about this?
Oh, I don't know about that. Ask one of the others.
The cut is deep, potentially serious if not treated immediately. He is in shock, feverish and dehydrated.
Sherry, you know first aid. Surely you have a duty to help this man. You can't leave him to certain death.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, I don't know about that. Ask one of the others.
I'll use it to create a solution. I can use this to stop the infection from spreading. Nausea and stomach pain is not what he needs now. Just washed. Better than nothing to bandage the wound. I've collated all the ingredients, now to prepare the first aid solution.
Thank you.
This should make you feel better, my friend. Now remain lying down and drink as much water as you can.
Well done, Sherry. At least he won't die from the infection.
Back off.
No hint of blood or impact. The blood sprayed off the blade after the strike. It might have been used as an improvised weapon. Oh, carnelian agate beads, a traditional African adornment. Police boots. Always happy to trample evidence. A man's footprint. A heavy boot with a worn-out sole. You know what? I'd like to understand.
What?
How did our dead man end up inside the camp in the first place? Sealed shut. I doubt our man could get through these grates. It's unlikely anyone could get in or out of the camp by water without alerting the police guards.
Back off.
No one deserves to end up in a place like this.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, I don't know about that. Ask one of the others.
No, it's too short for these walls or cliffs. A single Malpal butt. Roadman's cigarettes, a brand highly regarded by law enforcement officers. So there wasn't any sophisticated infiltration plan. The good old police just let the man into the camp. Now we have everything we need to get the full picture of what happened at the camp. So, we have a thug who came to take a refugee woman with him. She resisted, but he dragged her by force. One of the refugees stood in his way, armed with a stick, yet he could do nothing against a cutthroat with a blade. The man didn't anticipate that the other refugees would intervene and stand against him. In the confusion, the woman managed to break free. The thug took fright and fled. He was stopped by the falling crates. He stumbled and fell, piercing his chest with his own blade. However, the wound didn't cause instant death. He managed to stand, but still bleeding, he lost his balance on the bridge and fell. Before all of this, the man had freely entered the camp through the main entrance. The police admitted him after they had a short smoke together.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In our man's case, it's the same sword.
Back off. Back off.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Unfortunately, my casebook is empty on this.
Excuse me, just one question.
Oh, I don't know about that. Ask one of the others.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
Someone was dragged against their will. Mr. Harlow, your refugees didn't murder anyone.
What? Pray tell me what you've learned.
All right, listen carefully. This might solve one problem for you, but will create a few more.
Oh, well, that's a great start.
The man came to the camp intending to kidnap one of your refugees, a woman. What he didn't expect was that the refugees would stand up to protect the woman. A brawl had broken out. In the chaos of it, the man stumbled over those crates and fell on his own blade.
How do you know he fell on his own blade?
The wound in his chest was inflicted from an unusual angle. It was not an offensive stab, shall we say. The refugees didn't touch him. And judging by the blood at the scene, the intruder managed to raise himself but was unable to walk very far. He ultimately fell into the canal.
But how did he sneak into the camp? Why didn't the police see him?
And this is where your new problems emerge, Mr. Harlow.
What do you mean?
You're not a dull-witted man. You know what I mean. There is no feasible way to get into the camp without the police guards knowing of it.
The pile of mess I had to sort out has just become bigger, but somehow that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I thank you for your help, Mr. Holmes. I'll take it from here. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the police aren't detaining the refugees any longer. You can go back in and look for your witness.
You think one small clock can make any difference in this place?
Who knows, John? Just one ill-fitting cog. Could make the whole machine crumble. Are you able to help me?
They often take us from the camp to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way to get a glimpse of freedom.
Was that depravity in the photograph one of the workplaces the refugees are taken to? And all the while the police look the other way. Ugh, typical.
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, we don't see much here.
Help me, please.
Sorry. We don't see much here.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Sorry. We don't see much here.
Are you able to help me?
Sorry. We don't see much here.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
Help me, please.
Sorry. We don't see much here.
You're the one who tended to our man's wounds. I thank you greatly. The police didn't allow us to help him.
The police will leave you alone now. I've proven to them that the man who came into the camp died due to his own foolishness.
Thank you for standing up for us. But nobody would help us without a reason. You're here because you want something.
Yes, I do. I need to speak with the girl drawn here.
The dead man came for her too. He wanted to take the girl away, but we won't allow her to be hurt again. What do you want from Nayla?
Nayla. She was hurt some time ago. I'm here to find the people who did this and bring them to justice. And to find them, I need Nayla's help. Will you let me speak to her?
Justice. There's no justice on this land. But you helped us, so maybe your words are not empty. You can speak to Nayla, if she wants it. But I will be watching you.
Hello, Nayla? My name is Sherlock. I know someone hurt you. I am here to help. I'm trying to find the people involved and bring them to justice. Please. There is a photograph, and I'm sorry, it is terrible, but I simply must ask. Where did this happen? What can you tell me about these people? Christ, Sherlock. Nayla, I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this.
You come here for me, but you are rude and cruel and condescending. A cross. The man had this cross. Now go away. Leave us be. I do not need another white man's help.
Oh, glad that wasn't me.
Not my best work, John, by a long shot. Nayla doesn't want us meddling. I'm starting to wonder what this all achieves.
But she helped you anyway. Now we know that maniac's face and the cross he wore, we can still catch him.
At least some of your kind have a heart. Thank you again. At least some of your kind have a heart. Thank you again.
May I ask you something?
Sorry.
We don't see much here.
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry, we don't see much here.
Everyone's looking at us, Sherry. You sure you know what you're doing?
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry. We don't see much here.
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry, we don't see much here.
Is this familiar to you?
Sorry, we don't see much here.
You obviously haven't thought this all through. Or are you just annoying these people on purpose?
You still here?
The guards at the sewers were speaking about taking refugees out of the camp. Do you know anything about this, Inspector?
Less than you do, obviously.
And this doesn't bother you as an officer of the law?
I can neither punish them nor put them on the right track, if that's what you're asking. Maybe your friends at City Hall could do something about it, but I seriously doubt that. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of being frowned on for my uniform. If those fine gentlemen you've eavesdropped on are in some shady business, that's on their heads.
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time.
The intruder has a most peculiar tattoo on his neck, 2 lines and a point. Do you know anything about it?
You really want to know, kid? Why? You want to play a policeman or something?
I'm sure you have it in your records, so it won't hurt if I have it in mine.
In my records, it's just a tattoo, as it should be in yours. Ah, to hell with you. Suit yourself as to what you're going to do with it. Off the record, though, such tattoos are often connected to a man named Mr. Niccolo Bernadotti.
Bernadotti, you say?
A respectable businessman in Scaladio. His company imports goods and wines, and smuggles everything that can be smuggled between the colonies and the mainland. His people can be identified by an obscure tattoo, just like the one over there our friend has. But these are all merely rumors, you see. If Mr. Bernadotti was a criminal, he'd be in prison now. Or hanged, right? You're disturbing a hornet's nest here, son.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
You're disturbing a hornet's nest here, son.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
An impressive slice of life. The police had a lot on him, and at the same time, nothing at all. Amateurs.
Do you know anything about this?
I'm sorry, but I've never heard of that.
Could you help me?
I'm sorry, but I've never heard of that.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
I'm curious, how did Mycroft recruit you? I doubt you're a field agent. I imagine you work with intelligence.
That's correct. Your brother noticed me when I tracked down a spy at the archives. That's how our cooperation began. And you? Did Mycroft force you into this?
Not at all. We simply have a mutual interest in someone. Or something.
Of course. A fruitful and willing collaboration, I'm sure.
Well, I'm his younger brother. I have to accept the consequences of being a close relative of an official figure.
I suppose, in a way, we are colleagues, Mr. Holmes.
In the remotest way possible, Miss Oni. Can you satisfy my curiosity?
I'm glad to see such civic consciousness, but I've never heard of that.
If you're here on matters of signing up for military service, come back tomorrow. Our department needs to straighten out some business. Why are you staring at me like I'm a Madame Tussauds figure? Didn't you hear what I just said?
You blame yourself for what you did. Won't be any good unless you confess to me, so I'll try to be polite.
What sort of did are we talking about? Are you from the press?
I'm here because of Naylor.
Who?
You don't remember her name.
Lad, if you won't tell me where you came, I'll call for someone here to sort you out, if you get my meaning.
Do you recognize this man?
We definitely look alike. But you have the wrong person.
Really? Then you won't mind if I pass this along to the newspaper?
All right. All right. Is this about money, as you said in the letter? What kind of sum are we talking about?
I've never written a single word to you. Bribery, not my style.
So, that letter, it wasn't from you?
Well, it appears that more and more people in the city are finding out about your despicable hobby, doesn't it? You're in the clutches of justice, and very soon they will squeeze you. It's in your best interest to cooperate.
Fine. I suppose now we have a nice long talk. Do you drink, Mr.
Sherlock Holmes? And I do not.
Shame. All the best discussions are accompanied by a glass of whiskey. But out of respect for you, I won't drink either.
Respect? That's an unusual word in your mouth, Mr.
Where are my manners? My name is Thomas Norton, a British envoy in Cordona on a military mission. So, where do we start?
You mentioned blackmail. Tell me about it.
All right. A couple of days ago, I received an anonymous letter. It said that in the art gallery at Caravansary there exists a painting that incriminates me. The blackmailer made it clear that if there is a painting, then a photograph exists too. And I should be wary of what it might do to my reputation.
What does the blackmailer want from you?
Money, of course. What else do such people want? Needless to say, I don't remember anyone taking photographs at the party. Up until the last moment, I hoped he was bluffing. But he wasn't, as you've just proven to me.
Show me the letter.
I burnt it as soon as I read it. I've left enough evidence. There's no need for any more.
So, let's return to the beginning. What happened at the party?
I vaguely remember that night. As usual at such parties, you meet people, you talk with them, they invite you to spend some time alone with them. What can I say? I got myself mixed up with the wrong company, and somebody must have mixed some psychoactive substance in my drink. After that, it's all blurry. I completely lost my sanity. I made a terrible mistake which I regret deeply.
You don't say. Do refugee girls often appear on the menu at those types of parties?
It's rather rare.
So you didn't attend the party to engage in an exotic experience involving a vulnerable woman unable to accuse you of assault?
I would never have planned such a terrible thing. What happened was just bad circumstance.
Boniface Mercurio, does the name mean anything to you?
He's an artist, right?
The one responsible for the painting that compromises you. I found him dead in his room.
Oh, that is bad. Wait, you don't think that I have anything to do with this?
You had motive to kill him.
Maybe I did, but listen. I know how this looks, but murder? That's on another level. I had thoughts that this Mercutio...
Mercurio?
Well, him, yes. I thought he could have been the blackmailer. But I was too afraid to make any hasty decisions. There were plenty of ways to fail by making a move, so I chose to wait. To see what he would do next. You have to believe me.
I don't believe people, I believe evidence.
Then look at the evidence.
The painting that depicted you in the image of the devil was stolen by a mercenary. Did you have anything to do with it?
I might be a rotten person, sir, but hiring criminals for illicit purposes is not in my daily schedule.
And buying the painting in an attempt to hide the crime, is that on your daily schedule?
What would you do in my situation?
I would never put myself in such a situation.
You're young. I could never have imagined myself in my current position, yet here I am in front of you. We all make mistakes, Mr. Holmes, and I'm no exception. Mr. Holmes, I've built my entire career on hard work and uncompromising dedication to the Crown. I made a mistake, but I'm not a villain from some cheap adventure fiction. By putting me behind bars, you will benefit precisely no one.
Rotting in prison is the least you deserve, but I have a better idea. You will make amends and help the ones you hurt. Use your connections to help patriate the refugees, find them decent homes, give them jobs. There must be a meaning to your position and my decision.
Yes, all right, I can do that. So, will you give me the photograph now?
That's not all. Naylor deserves the very utmost of what you can do.
Help the girl? I can't risk the press paying extra attention to her. I will do anything except that.
I need to think this all through. Don't do anything foolish in the meantime.
What makes you think you can decide what's best for these people?
Such is the arrogance of British imperialism. I take your point.
Have you thought it all through?
Not yet.
Have you thought it all through?
Almost. The refugees, what will happen to them?
Well, I wouldn't be standing here in this fancy office if I didn't know how to pull the right strings. In fact, it's the only thing I know. The local governor will receive a decree signed by the House of Lords containing a request to patriate the refugees in the name of the Crown.
From where did you gain such influence?
I never asked you how you found the photograph. So don't ask the magician how he performs his tricks.
But how can I believe you?
Ugh. I presume you do believe in my selfishness. The initiator of the refugee salvation will be none other than the British envoy, savior and protector of those in need. It's a win situation for me, too. Now, what about the photograph?
You deserve to be punished, but the greater good is what matters here. I won't bargain it for justice for Naylor.
I'm glad that this situation is over.
It will be over when you settle the matter of the refugees.
You have my word, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio. Perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
Huh, he's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. Warren presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
Unfortunately, I could not locate the missing painting.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, such disappointing news. Not even a shred of information? the slightest lead?
I'm afraid the case has gone cold.
I suppose if you were unable to find it, no one else could. What a pity. Oh, but I can tell. You learned something else, didn't you? What happened to your crusade of truth? Was it not that important, after all?
No truth will satisfy you, Mr. Vogel.
It was not an attack, Mr. Holmes. If you've chosen not to tell me, I respect your intention. But it is just rather boring, isn't it?
It is what it is.
Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. It appears you were right.
Oh dear. I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained, specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured. What a bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts. I think I can find it in the manor.
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft, what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you back.
I have no interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare you?
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything. I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions, were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental, because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.